Howdy folks, Garrett here from Tech Yeah, and this is our second episode of Tech News Weekly. I'm wearing a silly hat. It's the 31st of October. There's been a lot of news this week. Let's get into it. Apple is just coming out swinging this week. Their new MacBook Pro units went on sale on October the 26th, and if you couldn't tell, they're a smashing success. There's hundreds of videos on YouTube showing these things off in different scenarios and creative workloads, the old MacBook and PCs versus this new thing. So there's a bunch of videos on YouTube already if you want to check those out. An article on The Verge actually suggested that the new chip is a GPU-shaped warning to both AMD and NVIDIA, and I'm sure they weren't thinking here, but also Intel with their new Arc Alchemist GPUs on the way. Apple claims the chip to be on par with 3080's performance, and we kind of have to agree and disagree. While you can edit up to 7 streams of 8K footage in ProRes and scrub with no issues, while you can do 7 streams of 8K with ProRes, and that's great and everything, gaming benchmarks have shown that the card can barely hold a flame in gaming to the 3060. This is to be expected as Apple's not necessarily optimized for gaming, and as more native client games come out for Mac, we should see developers start to actually make use of that extra graphics hardware. The news last week of Mark Zuckerberg's intention to create a parent company for Facebook, that actually happened. Did anybody notice? I really didn't. I kind of have to be honest here. Nothing else has changed. So Mark Zuckerberg has now created the company, you guessed it, Meta. That's its name. While the new parent company called Meta now owns Instagram, Facebook, Oculus, and WhatsApp, nothing else has changed and the apps remain the same. Look at the new logo for Meta. Yep. Now, I'll refrain from being 5 for a minute while I'll let you fill that in. Other outlets have already pointed out that the new logo looks really similar to male genitalia. And now that image is burned firmly in your head, let's move on. Alder Lake's launch announcement was this week. Micro Center's leak of the pricing of the new chips has finally been answered by Intel, and everything was, of course, 100% correct. The chips release on November the 4th and will be available this coming Thursday. This is a huge deal for anybody wanting to build a PC right now. The new chips sport a hybrid core architecture. This is usually where I find a really good deal on hardware, but with the performance claims, do I get an i7 11700K or do I get an i5 12600K? I don't know. It's a conundrum. Please help. Anyhow, the pricing for the new 12th generation chips, at least according to Intel, the i9 12900K should have an MSRP of $589, but we've already seen sources like Micro Center here behind me has it listed for $649.99. So take that with a grain of salt. The MSRP is the 12700K is $409, and the i5 12600K is $289. Now, do expect markups from retailers, and you'll have to pay their early adopter tax. Also be aware that the new chips support the new DDR5 as well as DDR4, so pay attention to your motherboard requirements so you don't end up a frustrated person like myself. For anybody that's been following the right to repair movement, the U.S. Copyright Office made adjustments to the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA. Perhaps something that you may have heard of. The new rules will allow for modification of a device's firmware, specifically in devices that cannot function without it. This has been a huge hurdle for the right to repair, as devices that require software to function have had no alternatives. This is going to allow shops and individuals to get access to the software tools, not only the hardware tools that they need to repair their devices. So this is going to complement repair efforts, and it is all completely fine as long as you put any circumventions in place when you're done repairing, such as DRMs and other things that keep people's digital assets. This isn't an open door for people to start hacking their systems and getting a bunch of free games. This is strictly just in the interest of making something that doesn't work. Razer announced to launch this product a while back, actually, and many people, including myself, thought it was a meme, and that would be the Razer Zephyr LED N95 face mask. It seems that's not the case, though, that Razer now has the Zephyr RGB face mask on sale. It has a dual fan N95 filtration system and a window, so people can still see your mouth, because, it's not like you would want to mumble or utter anything or mouth anything under the mask without people knowing or anything. I thought that was like the number one advantage of wearing these things anymore. Anyways, if you're interested in checking this thing out, there are available filters on Instagram, so you can actually get on and see what this thing looks like on your face. It's cyberpunk incarnate, ladies and gentlemen, and it's here in the real world, and you can get yours. Well, oh, you can't yet? It just says notify me on their webpage. Okay. Well, it might still be a meme then, but anyhow, there's still the Instagram filter, so if you're interested in that, check it out. Alright, now it's time for the rumor mill. This is a section of the tech news where I'm going to address a few things, rumors, leaks, and things of the such that have come out over the last week. With me, I try to cover what's actually news first, and it's not to discredit anybody, but until the actual company says, hey, this is coming out, hey, this is the way things are, then you have to take everything that you hear through some of these tech outlets with a grain of salt. So with that being said, let's get into it here. First up in the rumor mill this week was the Oculus Pro. So there was rumors that there were leaks of the Oculus Pro headset. This doesn't seem like it's much of a surprise to anybody, myself included. It's natural for companies to want to innovate and move forward, and the Quest 2 is a fantastic device, but it's not like that's where we're going to stay for all of eternity. So we will definitely be moving on from that there. There were other rumors here that Intel and AMD are predicting that the chip shortage is going to last into 2023. I'm personally tired of hearing about the chip shortage. I mean, it's something that affects me every day. I'm kind of low budget, so it's already really hard to get a hold of the right components and build out a computer and still, present a value to somebody. A few years ago, even, you were able to put a computer together for $300-400 and it would still offer a great value to the customer. And you can do that still nowadays, but you're going to have to skimp somewhere, because buying a graphics card, which is something you're going to need to play a lot of, like, even older games. Yeah, you'll need an older graphics card, but even older graphics cards now are ridiculous. Alright, yeah. There was also another leak that suggests that the new AMD EPYC CPUs, as they are going to be stepping up into the future, we're going to be looking at a 256-core EPYC CPU. God dang! That's going to be a big spicy meatball. It says that the new Genoa chips will only have a maximum core count of 96 cores. I know these are leaks, but jeebus. Anyhow, take that how you can. They're all from leakers that have been known to be primarily correct most of the time. But like I said, in this industry, you have to take everything just about with a little grain of salt until you actually hear infallible proof from the company itself making the product or software in question. You just have to. You may as well just have a jar of salt standing nearby. I'm not going to do the salt shaking meme. That seems like I'm asking. Anyways, moving on to release of the Intel Arc Alchemist GPUs as well this week. I'll put it on the screen here. There was a render of the card, which looked pretty lackluster compared to what we were expecting, which is this beautiful black and purple and blue card here that I'll put on the screen. Now, as you can see, the one you're looking at now, that looks a lot better than this card we got leaked renders of. So there's been a lot of rumors going back and forth. Intel did a giveaway recently during their scavenger hunt for the GPUs. We are all desperate on news for these new GPUs. That completes the rumor mill for this week. If you guys know of any rumors, please put them in the comments section. I will check them out, and they might make it to the rumor mill next week. We'll try to make this a thing. Okay, now that we're out of there, we can get to my favorite part, and that is what's new in gaming news. Xbox received a few updates at the beginning of the week. Console now natively renders its UI in 4K. Kind of seems like a swing and a miss there, but anyhow. The update also brought night mode and also quick settings. Quick settings is going to allow you to switch between settings that you like quickly and on the fly, and then dark mode. I think we all know what dark mode is nowadays, but this is all really great because it leads into my next story. Nvidia actually did something really commendable this week, and that was enabling support for their Geforce Now service on the Edge browser. Now, for a lot of people on PC or on a desktop, you're thinking, who cares? I never even opened Edge. I installed Windows and immediately I opened it once to go to google.com/Chrome, and I never looked back. And for a lot of people, that's the case. But this has awesome implications, such as playing PC games from Steam and Epic on your Xbox. Yes, that's right. The Xbox has an Edge browser, and now GeForce Now has Edge support. So it's finally bringing merit to the
Xbox is a computer
debate club. Yes, it's technically a computer, but you can't really do everything with it like you can with a traditional computer. But that bridge is now being gapped finally, and it's kind of hilarious that Nvidia is the one bridge. So you can also run Windows 10 in dev mode on the Xbox console, and that's been known since its release. But this is even better news. You can now play with a 3080 performance with ray tracing using an NVIDIA GPU on your Xbox. That's pretty sweet. Samsung announced an upcoming cloud gaming service. If this has you excited, hold on a second. Just hold on. The service is only for their Tizen smart-based TV, so their Tizen platform. Samsung offered no further details, just saying that they're doing it. Thanks, Samsung. Yeah, that's the equivalent of saying,
I do so too have a cloud gaming service.
And then not showing us the cloud gaming service. So, yeah, anyhow, moving on. Nintendo brought some N64 games to the Switch earlier this week. Switch users that paid $30 for the annual service were sadly disappointed, though, as the service currently only has 9 playable games, and the emulation is said to be worse than that of third-party emulation. That's kind of a miss for Nintendo, seeing as how they made the original game and also made the Switch, and blah 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 blah. I mean, if you go down, and Nintendo themselves should be better at putting these things out than a third-party company is. But then when we think about it, third-party companies or third-party softwares have had the time to invest into perfecting their emulator. Now that the console is 25 years old, that makes sense. Third-party N64 emulators have been around for a while. So it looks like it will take some time for Nintendo to polish this up, if they ever do. Hopefully they do. Alright, Sony announced this week that it finally has a labeled name for its PC gaming division. Yes, that's right. Sony PlayStation is gonna make PC games, and this is just the most fantastic news ever. Us on PC, we've been wanting PlayStation exclusive titles. It's no different than what we used to want out of the Xbox exclusive titles. We wanted Halo on PC. Now we want God of War on PC, and that's coming, but we want other things on PC too. They all share a common hardware, so it seems like this is a logical step forward. But anyhow, Sony formed PlayStation PC LLC, and that's the name that they're giving to their PC division. We'll see what kind of projects they have in the fire. I hope you guys are excited. I know I'm excited. And that's the last story that I have for you today. Anyhow, if you're a regular dude like me, you might want to come check out our tech news every week, just so you can get a handle on what's actually important, because I'm only really going to report on things that I think most the everyday person would care about. You know what I mean? We could get into the dives and all the new server technologies, and we could do all that stuff, but really, I don't want to make your head spin, and I don't think you want your head to spin. So if you're into computers just a little bit and want to know what's going on, check out our tech news. We mentioned Alder Lake and DDR5 and a bunch of other buzzwords at the beginning of the video. So if you want to check out some of those topics, look to our channel here soon. We'll have an explainer video for both the 12th gen Intel as well as DDR5 going forward, just to give users a little bit of information on what exactly the new technologies they're bringing to the table are and how they might benefit you. And we're going to include Apple Silicon as well, so any of you Mac lovers out there, do not disappoint. This is not a PC-centric channel. It is Tech Yeah. Tech Yeah means all tech, not just PC or the tech that you're into, or even the stuff that I might be into. If it's tech and it's coverable, we're going to cover it. So that's been Tech News Weekly, you guys. That's a whole week's worth of tech news. I know seems like there's a lot going on, especially if you watch other outlets for your news. But like I'm saying, not every little thing that goes on in this space is exactly news or needs our attention. So if you're a regular guy like me, you might want to come check out our tech news that we're doing. Alright guys, just coming in here in the title bar before you start watching the blooper reel. I just wanted to remind everybody, Tech Yeah has a Patreon. We could really use your support. Please check us out. You guys have a good one. Links in the description. There's Matt. Yep. There.